Imagine a loom, a vast cosmic loom. Threads of starlight and shadow are woven there. They create patterns of breathtaking beauty. Suns blaze in their appointed places. Planets trace their silent, graceful orbits. Life, in its myriad forms, flourishes. This is order. It is a symphony of existence, each note perfectly placed. Every creature, every stone, every whisper of wind plays its part. The universe hums a quiet song of balance, but look closer. See that one thread? It's slightly frayed, a tiny imperfection, almost invisible, a single strand darker than the others. It pulls just a little, a tension almost imperceptible enters the grand design. This is the first hint, the quiet before the storm. Order holds for now, but the seed of its undoing is there. It always is. The unraveling has begun. Myths are the dreams of humanity. They are the stories we tell ourselves. Stories to explain the sun, the moon, the storm, stories to explain ourselves. And in these dreams, a recurring figure lurks, sometimes in the shadows, sometimes in plain sight. It is chaos. It is the primal soup from which everything emerged. It is the void that yearns to reclaim all. It is the wild, untamed heart of the universe. It beats beneath the surface of all things. Chaos is not always portrayed as evil, not in the simple sense. It is more accurately the unorder. The state before definition, before lines were drawn and names were given. Think of Ginnungagap, the yawning void of Norse tales. Before Odin and his brothers shaped the worlds, before Asgard glittered, there was only this, a vast emptiness, pregnant with potential. Potential for creation, yes, but also potential for utter, complete desolation. This primordial chaos is a constant. It is an ever-present force. Even when order seems triumphant, chaos waits. It whispers in the rustling leaves. It roars in the storm. The cycle is key. Asgard, the home of the Aesir gods, a realm of shining halls and mighty warriors. Odin, the All-Father, wise and one-eyed. Thor, the Thunderer, with his mighty hammer Mjolnir. Frigg, the Queen, who knows the fates of all. They feasted in Valhalla, they fought glorious battles. They seemed eternal, invincible. Their power shaped the 9 worlds. Their laws maintained a semblance of order. They were the bulwark against the frost giants. Yet even in Asgard's golden halls, a shadow lingered, a prophecy, a doom foretold. Ragnarok, the twilight of the gods. Not a maybe, not a perhaps. It was a certainty, woven into the threads of fate itself. Odin knew it. He sought knowledge to avert it, or at least to understand it. He sacrificed his eye for wisdom. He hung from Yggdrasil, the world tree. But some fates cannot be unstitched. They are too deeply woven. The gods lived with this knowledge. Every feast had a bitter aftertaste. Every victory was a temporary reprieve. They knew their enemies were gathering. The gods would know their time was short. First came the winds, cold, biting winds. They swept across Midgard, the world of men, then snow. Not gentle flakes, but relentless blizzards. This was Fimbulwinter, 3 winters in a row, no summer between them. The sun grew weak, pale in the sky. The earth froze solid. Crops failed. Animals died. Hunger stalked the lands. Despair became a constant companion. The bonds of kinship frayed and snapped. Men turned against men. Brother slew brother for a crust of bread. Fathers betrayed sons. Oaths once sacred became meaningless words. Greed and violence ruled. The world descended into a brutal struggle for survival. The gods watched from Asgard. They saw the unraveling. They knew this was the beginning of the end. The prophecies were coming true, one by one. The order they had painstakingly built was crumbling. Chaos was gathering its forces. Section 5. Vigrid's Bloody Dawn, when gods and monsters clash. The final warnings came. The rooster Golinkambi crowed in Asgard. Another crowed in Jotunheim, the land of giants. A third, a sooty red rooster, crowed in Hell's dark realm. Heimdall, the watchman of the gods, blew the Yalahorn. Its mournful blast echoed across the 9 worlds. This was the call to arms. The gods knew. The giants knew. The time for the final battle had arrived. It was time for Ragnarok. The armies gathered on the vast plain of Vigrid. It was said to be 100 leagues in every direction. On one side, Odin led the Aesir gods. With him were the Einherjar, the spirits of fallen human heroes from Valhalla. Thor stood ready. his hammer Mjolnir crackling with lightning, Tyr, the one-handed god of war, Freya, the noble god of fertility, all knew this might be their last stand. They fought for what remained of order. Opposing them was a fearsome host. Loki, freed from his bonds, led the forces of chaos. With him came the frost giants and the fire giants. The clash was inevitable. Section 6, The Green Rebirth. Beyond the flames of Ragnarok, the great battle raged. Odin, the All-Father, fought valiantly, but Fenrir, the monstrous wolf, was too powerful. The wolf's jaws gaped wide. One reached to the earth, the other to the sky. Odin was swallowed. A great darkness fell. Then Vidar, Odin's silent son, avenged his father. He tore Fenrir's jaws apart. Thor, too, met his fate. He slew the mighty Jormungandr, but as the serpent died, it drowned Thor in a torrent of venom. He took 9 steps and fell. Surtur, the fire giant, unleashed his devastating power. His flaming sword swept across the earth. Asgard burned, Midgard burned. The 9 worlds were consumed by fire. The stars fell from the sky. The earth trembled and sank into the boiling sea. It seemed like the ultimate victory for chaos, the end of everything. Silence descended. Only the hissing of steam and the crackling of embers remained. The old order was utterly destroyed. Nothing was left. But wait, the stories did not end there. After a time, the waters receded. A new earth emerged from the sea. It was green and fertile, more beautiful than the old one. Section 7, The Cosmic Clock's Darkest Hour, entering Kali Yuga. Far from the icy north, in the warm lands of India, time moved differently. Not in a single, dramatic arc towards a fiery end, but in vast, sweeping cycles. Great ages, called yugas, turned like the gears of a cosmic clock. Each yuga had its own character, its own level of virtue, of dharma. The cycle began with perfection. It slowly, inevitably declined, until the very end. And then it would begin again, always. The first age was Satya Yuga, the age of truth, or Krita Yuga. It was a golden age. Humanity was righteous, noble, and lived long lives. There was no deceit, no malice, no suffering. Dharma, the cosmic law of righteousness, stood firm on all 4 legs. People were naturally virtuous. They lived in harmony with each other and with the divine. It was a time of peace, prosperity, and spiritual enlightenment, a time of effortless goodness. Then came Treta Yuga, the Silver Age. Dharma now stood on 3 legs. Virtue began to decline, but only slightly. Rituals and sacrifices became necessary to achieve righteousness. People were still largely good. Section 8, Adharma's reign, the decay of virtue in the age of quarrel. Kali Yuga, the age of Kali. Not the goddess Kali, but the demon Kali, the age of darkness, of quarrel, of hypocrisy. This is the final age in the cycle, the one we are said to inhabit now. In this age, Dharma stands precariously on only 1 leg. Adharma, or unrighteousness, reigns supreme. Virtue is scarce, truth is hidden. The world groans under the weight of its own corruption. It is an age of profound spiritual decline. Rulers become avaricious and unjust. They exploit their people. Wealth becomes the sole measure of nobility and virtue. The poor are oppressed. The sacred traditions are forgotten or perverted. Teachers are no longer respected. Families break apart. People are consumed by anger, greed, and lust. Deceit and falsehood are commonplace. Honesty is a rare and dangerous quality. Life becomes short and fraught with suffering. The world is out of balance. The scriptures describe this age vividly. Men will be like asses, carrying burdens they do not understand. Women will be unchaste. Children will disrespect their elders. Section 9, Revelation's Riders, the 4 who herald the unmaking. In the Christian tradition, the book of Revelation paints a vivid picture, a terrifying vision of the end times. It is a prophecy of judgment, tribulation, and the ultimate triumph of good over evil. But before that triumph comes a period of intense chaos. A time when the seals of a sacred scroll are broken, and with the breaking of each seal, a new horror is unleashed upon the world. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. They are the harbingers. The first seal is opened, a white horse appears, its rider holds a bow, and is given a crown. He rides forth to conquer. This is often interpreted as conquest or sometimes pestilence, a power that seeks to dominate, to subjugate. It represents the ambition and aggression that lead to widespread suffering, the beginning of the unraveling, a false peace perhaps before the true storm breaks. The world watches, unaware of what is to follow. The second seal is broken. A fiery red horse emerges. Its rider is given a great sword. He has the power to take peace from the earth, to make men slay each other. This is war. Raw, brutal conflict. Nations rising against nations. The bonds of society shattering under the strain of violence. Bloodshed and turmoil spread across the lands. The innocent suffer. The world descends into a maelstrom of hatred and destruction. Peace becomes a distant memory. Section 10. The persistent storm. Chaos, the eternal return. Ragnarok's fiery end and green rebirth. Kali Yuga's slow decay and promised renewal. The Four Horsemen heralding a period of cataclysm before a new heaven and earth. These stories, born in different lands in different times, sing a similar song. They speak of cycles, they speak of destruction, and they speak of the ever-present, ever-returning force of chaos. It is a shadow that walks beside order, a constant companion. Chaos is not simply an enemy to be vanquished. It is more complex than that. It is the untamed energy of creation itself, the raw material from which order sculpts its fragile forms. Without chaos, there can be no change, no growth, no renewal. A universe static and unchanging would be a dead universe. Chaos is the storm that clears the air, the fire that purges the old to make way for the new. It is a terrifying yet vital force. The persistence of these myths across cultures speaks to a deep human understanding. We sense this underlying rhythm of the cosmos, the dance between creation and dissolution. We see it in the changing seasons, in the birth and death of stars, in our own lives with their moments of peace and turmoil. These apocalyptic visions are not just tales of fear, they are acknowledgements of a fundamental truth, that order is temporary,